Good afternoon, Irish fans, and welcome to the next episode of the D Irish Fan Podcast. How are you? My name is Danny. I am not an Irish fan. I am a D Irish fan. Thank you so much for tuning in. Look, hey, before I get into some talk, Notre Dame football talk, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that every single time I post an episode, you guys can get some pure fan Irish football talk. Because that's what this channel is all about. That's what I'm all about. Is just a fan who doesn't have an inside track on anything, who just loves talking Irish football. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get into a couple of things. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on, and there's been a lot of stuff, crazy stuff going on in my life and with YouTube too. I don't know why. My last episode that I tried recording, it didn't upload. The one before that, it took like 24 hours. I don't know what's up with that. But YouTube's been kind of squirrely, so that's kind of why I've been on so much. But I wasn't able to do a prediction post for USC. I didn't do a post game post. So this is kind of going to be an all-in-one encompassing talk about USC, the game, this bye week. Where's Notre Dame at right now? Midway through the season, the bye weeks are always a good midweek report card to kind of reestablish, talk about how the team is doing, how they've done, where we think they're going, and that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about today. So, first and foremost, that game, they looked dominant in that game against USC. I mean, against your rival, prime time, at home, everything you had to do to win that game, you did. You didn't just beat a good team. You beat the best team left on your schedule. You beat a playoff caliber team. Everyone was saying, everyone that I listened to anyway in Notre Dame land was saying that before the game that this was the first playoff game, and I totally agree with that. Agreed with that. It was a game you had to win. You lose, no playoffs, and you have 5 glorified scrimmages left for the rest of the season until you play next season. That's any game for the rest of the season for that matter. And we'll get into that, but this was the first playoff game because if you lose, you're out. It's also as a playoff game because it was a playoff caliber opponent. The best quarterback that will play the rest of the year, even and including perhaps even the playoffs. The best offense, the most high explosive offense that we held to 24 points. And we did it in Notre Dame fashion. Okay, under the lights, rain, cold. Kind of a miserable day. Nobody cared. The stadium was sold out, and we ground them. We grounded USC. I mean, to a bloody pulp. I loved also the fact that we did that just after Lincoln Riley gets done saying how the USC is a tough team. I think we're way tougher than people think, and all this stuff, and trying, and while I'm on Lincoln Riley, by the way, just what a douche. What a douche, if I don't mind myself saying so. I mean, oh my gosh, he didn't even shake Marcus Freeman's hand after the game. He is doing everything he can to set up USC and put them in a position where they have easy schedules so that they can beat up on the Big Ten, the weak part of the Big Ten, and make the playoff every single year. And that's just a lousy way to do that. I mean, this is college football. If you want to go to the playoff, you have to play good teams in the regular season. You just have to, because the playoff committee, if they care about anything, if you had to put one thing that they cared about when choosing teams, it's who'd you beat. And if you're going to make if you're going to try every year scheduling teams to where you're winning 77-0, and then you think that you're going to have a fast track to the playoff, you're mistaken. One of the reasons why they're trying to get out of this playing Notre Dame every single year is because they think now that they're in the Big Ten, they don't need to play Notre Dame every single year. And it is just, it's horrible when coaches are going to this modern day way of thinking, and it's cowardly, by the way, of playing weak opponents so that you have a fast track to the playoff. And that is Lincoln Riley. And he doesn't want to play Notre Dame anymore because of that. And it just goes to show you how much of a coward he is, and how much of the lack of football, the lack of competitor that he is. I'll say it all the time. I have a buddy who's an Alabama fan. I would have loved to play Alabama more times with Nick Saban as a head coach, because if you beat Nick Saban, And Alabama, that's the pinnacle of college football. And as a competitor, how could you not want that? How could you not want to beat and play with the best, which is what he is? So, that's not Lincoln Riley. He's a wimp. He's a total wimp. That's why he's trying to get out of this playing Notre Dame. And so that's kind of why this game, not just it's the significance of it being the first playoff game, the fact that we won, the fact that it was our biggest rival, but the fact that it could be, I don't think it will be, but I think it could be the last time that we play USC for a while. That is just that's weird. I think there's only 2 times since the 20s that we have not played USC. One of them was World War II, and the other one was 2020 during COVID. That's it. Every other year we played USC. Every year. For as long as I've been alive, for as long as you've been alive, and for as long as your dads have been alive. That's how long we've been playing USC. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. If it is, we won the last game. In historic fashion, no one has ever rushed for more yardage against the USC football team than Jeremiah Love. 228 yards, I think he finished with, including 37 yards in the air. Just dominant. We have, I cannot tell you, I really can't, maybe last year, but I can't tell you the last time that we had the number 1 and the number 2 running back in the entire country in the same Notre Dame backfield. I don't think we've ever had that. Maybe you could make an argument back in the Lou Holtz era, with Ricky Waters and a couple of those guys. I don't know, but we have the number 1 and number 2 running backs in the entire country, and and they're healthy. That's a wood table. So hopefully they stay that way, because we're going to need them going into this playoff run that we're about to make. Every single team that we play, it'll be like something like an 80% chance or more of winning. Not that I care about that kind of thing. Remember last year they kept saying Notre Dame has a 56% chance of making the playoff. I can't stand that. I don't read any of that. I don't pay any attention to that. Nobody knows. Nobody cares until the last week when the college football playoff committee decides who's going to make the playoff. And it's squirrely. It's just squirrely. And before I talk about that, let me just kind of put this USC thing to bed. Back-to-back years that Jadarian Price has kickoff returns for touchdowns. The offensive line, it was just a thing of beauty. It was, if you're a football fan, especially the ones that loves the trench warfare in football, it was just beautiful. Right before he got hurt, Billy Strouth was just mauling guys all night long. I mean, he was just dominant. And then as later on as they went into the game, the guys didn't quit. They didn't give up, and it looked awesome. It just looked beautiful. So that was great. Put a bow on this. We beat USC. We beat our biggest rival, and it was beautiful. I loved it. Every single thing about it. What does this mean though? What does it mean going forward? And has Notre Dame righted the so-called ship from the previous opening of the season, the 2 losses that we have against Texas A&M and against Miami? Well, it means a lot. First of all, have we righted the ship? Yes, to a degree at least. There's still things you got to clean up. There's still things that need to be done right. There's plenty of that. I think they have righted the ship. I think the question is, it's not have they righted the ship or not. The answer is clearly yes. I think the question is how much of this was Chris Ash and how much of this was Marcus Freeman. Personally, I believe that it was Marcus Freeman and not Chris Ash. I think Chris Ash came in and was like, okay, I'm going to do this style of defense. This is what I want. Marcus Freeman agreed, and it didn't work. So Marcus Freeman had to go back to the drawing board and tell his coach, look, you work for me. This is what I want you to do, and I want you to go to more basic coverages. I want you to go to more man coverage, and I want you to blitz more. And guess what? That's what we've seen. Now, Marcus Freeman is not going to throw his coaches under the bus. He'll never do that. And I have no inside knowledge. There's no one that's come out and said that this has happened. But I've got to believe this because of this actually, they finally look like the Notre Dame defense. they're still far away from what they need to be, and they're not even close to what they were last year. But they're going in the right direction. As the first 2 games they're doing this, the last 5 games they're doing this. So it's okay. So I'll handle the growing pains in the meantime. I don't know. Christian Gray looked hurt. I don't know if anybody else saw that or not, but he did not look right. I know some of these guys are banged up. Leonard Moore just continues to be a dog. That dude is just so good. And we keep getting year after year after year dominant cornerbacks. I mean, who would have ever thought that coming out of Notre Dame? But Christian Gray looks hurt. I don't know what that means going forward. I think this bye week comes at a really opportune time. I think these guys need rest. They need health. Speaking of health, Billy Schrauth is going to be out at least 3 to 4 weeks. That's not good news, but at the same time, it's going to, he's going to be able to come back right at the most opportune time. And hopefully he comes back completely healthy, because we're going to need that offensive line depth in the playoff. Who knows, maybe even we'll get Charles Jagasaw back at some point in time. And that could really, really help going through making a playoff run. We could have one of the more, if not the most dominant offensive line in the country, which is scary considering we have the 2 best running backs in the entire country, which is also scary because I believe that we have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. Look, this offense is great. They're not good, they're great. And when they put it together, they're going to be elite. And that's what you need to win a national championship. The big picture, 30,000 foot view, our goals are still alive. We're still there to be able to compete and go to a playoff. I think we will if we win out. I think we will win out, which means I think we'll go to the playoff. And who knows what is going to happen. We'll see if we get a home playoff game or not. Maybe not. And even if we don't, I still like our chances to win a game or 2. And who knows, man? I mean, who knows what could happen? And this could be another year where we go all the way to a national title game and maybe even win one. So it's still exciting to be an Irish fan. That's a big deal. We beat USC. That's a big deal. And we have momentum now going into the home stretch, the most important time of the college football season, the last couple of games of the year, 5 games. We have momentum going in, and also very, very winnable games. Now, here's kind of the wild card. What are our opponents going to do the rest of the year? We need Texas A&M, Miami, and USC now to win as much as possible. Miami got upset by Louisville last week. Texas A&M won a squeaker, but they're still undefeated and ranked in the top 5. But I'd love to have that game back, man. Oh my gosh, I would love to have that game back. Can you imagine us being, instead of 5-2, 6-1 right now with a win over Texas A&M and USC? I mean, talk about a lock for the playoff. We wouldn't have to. We would be a lock for a home game. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but whatever. So we'll see. We'll see it going forward. We need our opponents to win. We need them to win. We need them to win big. Or you need them to tank to get them out of the playoff. One or the other. I'm okay with either one, but one or the other. Come to the end of the season, we're 10-2, and our only 2 losses are combined 4 points by 2 top 10 teams in the nation, which is what it is right now. And we have a win over USC, who should be ranked by the end of the year. They were. Tell me how this makes any sense. They got knocked down out of the ratings because they lost to us, and the team that jumped over them right now, they're ranked 26th. If you had to go, I know it only goes down to 25, but if you look at the points and how they rank that, USC would be ranked 26th. The team ahead of them, Michigan, who they beat a week before, who's got the same record and has no wins against top 25 teams, when USC has a win against them and a head-to-head matchup, but somehow Michigan is still ranked ahead of them. That doesn't make any sense to me. But luckily we don't have to worry about the AP poll. We only have to worry about the college football playoff poll. And I think they'll have USC, especially if they win out the next couple of games. I think they'll have them in the top 25, which gives us a win against the top 25 opponent for the college football playoff, which is good. So we need our opponents to continue winning. We do that, I think we're going to be in good position to host a playoff game. I find it hard to believe that the committee is going to go they lost to two top 10 teams by a combined 4 points. They have a win over against a top 25 team. And who knows, maybe even Navy will be a top 25 team. They're undefeated right now. We got to beat them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, this is a surefire thing. We should beat Navy every year, but, they always seem to give us a scare. They're a good team. They're a lot better than they were last year. So we'll see. But anyway, I digress. If we have a win over Navy, I think, whether it's a winner, no matter what, I think having a win over Navy is a quality opponent. So that's all we need is just win over quality opponents. Boston College, which is our next game. It's a week from tomorrow. They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. And then then after that, all we got left is, I believe, Syracuse, Stanford. I already said Navy, and who's that fifth game? I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, 5 games left. Very winnable opponents. We can do this. I'm ready for the home stretch, and I'm ready for more chaos in the country. I might do an episode next week about the chaos that could be happening. Keep your eyes peeled for this weekend. There's gonna be a lot of ranked games, a lot of teams that could be going down in upset fashion, or they're just playing good teams. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll do the old proverbial Charlie Weiss, sitting home eating cheeseburgers and moving up in the rankings. Hopefully that happens. We get guys healthy. We get guys ready to go down to the home stretch. The last 5 games. Ready for a college football playoff in November. This is awesome. This is what college football is all about. This is what being a Notre Dame football fan is all about. I love it. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to the D Irish Fan Podcast. My name's Danny. Have a good night. I will see you next week.